Away from the MLB trade deadline, and the teams who plan to sell are coming into focus. According to our Jim Bowden, one of the sellers has been confirmed, the Arizona Diamondbacks. The D-backs are telling teams that they are open for business and will trade away some of their veterans. The top trade target is Geno Suarez, followed by right-handed starters Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly, and first baseman Josh Naylor. All four players are free agents after this season, and Suarez made it known at the All-Star break that he'd welcome a move to the Bronx.
I mean, Yankees is Yankees, you know. I feel like it's a team who want to win. They had the test from last year, but they hungry still. If I go over there, like I said, I will do my best over there, try to help them win the World Series.
You heard it there. Welcoming CBS Sports MLB writer Matt Snyder, who's playing the role of GM for several teams in a series of articles on CBSSports.com. And Matt, you are a man of many hats, literally and figuratively. So we're going to have you play GM here on HQ. Start with the Yankees. You're Brian Cashman. Is your top target Geno Suarez? And if so, are you concerned about his defense when your team is already struggling defensively?
Yes, absolutely. He is the number one target. Now, we have a lot of needs. We need starting pitching. We need relief pitching. As I said, we're going to throw the house at this thing a few weeks ago, and Eugenio Suarez is at the top of that list. Look, we've needed a third baseman all year. When we had Jazz Chisholm at third base, we needed him at second base because we needed a third baseman. This just makes it that much better for us that Eugenio Suarez has so much power. I'm looking at the lineup. We can go Cody Bellinger in the 2-hole, Aaron Judge in the 3-hole, Suarez in the 4-hole, Jazz Chisholm in the 5-hole, and then Giancarlo Stanton in the 6-hole. How powerful is that when you've got a 6-hole with Giancarlo Stanton? His defense, look, it can't get any worse right now. His defense is perfectly adequate at third base. A lot of the players that we have in-house need to play better on defense, and just because Suarez is our top target does not mean that we don't have any other needs. As I said, we're going to throw the house at this thing. But yeah, man, I've got the chance to add Eugenio Suarez at the trade deadline. He sounds like he wants to come here. Of course, I'm going to go after him.
Hey, as long as you score more runs than you give up, that's all that matters at the end of the day. But Absolutely. You got to be able to score runs. And if you don't, then you're kind of, well, you know what. The Mariners, Reds, and Cubs are among the teams who are also interested in Suarez and his 36 home runs. Matt, speaking of the Cubs, you're Jed Hoyer. What's your best move for the Cubs at the deadline?
Well, it might be Suarez because we do need an upgrade over Matt Shaw at third base. But look, the Cubs have still had one of the most dynamic offenses in baseball all season. They've got a lot of power. They've got a lot of speed. If I'm the GM right now, I'm saying starting pitching is the problem right now because we're looking at Shota Imanaga, who's great, Matthew Boyd, who is great, Jameson Taillon, once he comes back from this injury, probably want him to be a number 4 starter in the playoffs. After that, Cade Horton is going to run out of innings right now. Colin Ray probably doesn't need to stay in the rotation, and Ben Brown doesn't deserve any more chances in the rotation or as the length guy behind an opener. So I need a starting pitcher right now. I don't know who it's necessarily going to be, but we're going to go out and we're going to cast a wide net, and I would like to end up with Mitch Keller of the Pirates. He's been throwing really, really well right now. ERA well under 3 in the last 8 games, and I think there's another gear in there. Somebody who cuts his fastball like that. We have done well with pitchers like this. I think getting him out of Pittsburgh, he's going to feel refreshed. He's going to feel invigorated. There's a little extra adrenaline boost to get right in the mix of the playoff race there. And while I'm on the phone with Pittsburgh, I'd like to just say let's see what it takes to get David Bednar as well, because we could use another reliever. So if we go to the playoffs and we're looking at a playoff rotation, Imanaga and Boyd, the 2 lefties at top. Keller is a great 3. You could argue one of the better 3s in baseball once we get to the playoffs. And then Taillon is perfectly fine as a 4.
Do you think the Pirates would be reluctant to trade in division?
No, I don't think so. I mean, they've done a lot of work with the Cubs in the past, and right now it's all about getting the best return possible because it doesn't look like they're ready to contend next year anyway. And they're probably trying, because of ownership, to get out of Keller's money. He has a contract that the Pirates obviously willingly offered him, but he doesn't get expensive until next year. It's heavily backloaded. He's got 3 years and about $53 million left on there. I'm sure if the Pirates could shed that, they wouldn't care who took him.
And they got Bubba Chandler waiting in the wings, so if they do end up dealing a starter, they got him ready to go at the major league level. Cubs chasing the red-hot Brewers in the Central, sit 1 game back, while the Phillies are a half game back of the Mets in the NL East. Matt, put on your Phillies GM hat. You're Dave Dombrowski. You need bullpen help. What's the move you're making if you're the Phillies?
Yeah, there are multiple relievers that we could go out and go after, and we are definitely going to do that. But we just signed David Robertson, and once Aaron Nola returns from his multiple injuries down the stretch, we're going to have such a loaded rotation that we can kick some of the rotation guys into the bullpen. I think it's more important to get a little bit more balance into this lineup that's become way too top heavy, way too reliant on Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper, and Trey Turner. So I'm going to go out and I'm going to try to buy low on Luis Robert of the White Sox right here. We could use a center fielder who swings from the right side. All three of our starting outfielders have a negative WAR right now, by the way. Luis Robert in 2023 was one of the best players in baseball. I mentioned earlier about the Cubs and if you go out to grab somebody like Mitch Keller off a bad team, how he can get reinvigorated. I think Luis Robert just wants to be freed and wants to go play for a winner. And last 9 games, hitting .375 with an OPS of over 1,000. He's already starting to turn the tide from a bad couple years. He could add a new dynamic to that Phillies lineup. So as Phillies GM, we are going to go hard after Luis Robert, and it would be a very fun move.
Yeah, there's several teams interested in Luis Robert, including the Mets. The Reds have had some interest as well, reportedly. The reigning World Series champion Dodgers will reportedly be aggressive at the deadline. Andrew Friedman, Brandon Gomes looking to upgrade. Matt, you wrote about what the Dodgers should do at the deadline on CBSSports.com. What's the number one move for LA?
Well, the first thing I want to say, if I'm the Dodgers GM, is I'm incredibly frustrated that we even have to buy, because all offseason we talked about how we wanted to be deadline proof. We wanted to be so deep everywhere. We don't need to make a move. But then several guys in the bullpen don't pitch as well as expected. We have a lot of injuries in the bullpen. Kirby Yates hasn't worked out as well as we thought. Tanner Scott now has an elbow injury. And while Michael Kopech and Blake Trinan are both coming back soon, we've had so many injuries. We want to kind of go out and make a big move in the bullpen. As you see, the bullpen has been a big problem progressively throughout the season and turning into a pretty huge one here in July when we have struggled as a team. So we're going to go out and get Jhoan Duran from the Minnesota Twins, one of the biggest fireballers out of the bullpen in all of baseball. We think we can take him to the next level, as we've done with so many guys before. I just mentioned Michael Kopech last year when we grabbed him from the White Sox. He went out and he took it to another level. He was amazing in the playoffs. Duran could have a historic postseason pitching for us as we go deep into October. So it's Jhoan Duran of the Twins is our number one target.
I love that move because he's on my fantasy team and he get me some more saves and holds perhaps. Absolutely. If he goes and joins the Dodgers. I like that. Matt Snyder, a man of many hats here on CBS Sports HQ, the MLB.
I'm glad you said that. Old Mookster got benched, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, it sucks when you get
benched. They can call it a day off. They can call it whatever you want. They didn't want you to play.
You come sit with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. Figure it out. I'm mad at you, whatever. I mean, benchings could be good. Benchings could be a sign of things to come. Mm-hmm. But let's call it what it is. Dave said sit down. Or at least somebody told Dave to tell him to sit down. I'm assuming Dave told him to sit down.
I think it was probably a collaborative effort, but yeah. I mean, I'm sure he's the one that told him that's what was happening.
Yes, it is what it is. Now let's see how you respond to said benching.
So there's a lot there. Let's start with this. They called it a day off, right? Dude, you just had a week off.
Right.
You had for the first time really in forever, you didn't make the All-Star team. And he shouldn't have, right? So you had a week, you had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You had time off to check out, get right, physically, mentally, spiritually, whatever it is. Like, right, kind of flush it all and say, okay, second half of the season, here we go. Comes out on Friday night, doesn't have a good night, and they bench him on Saturday.
Yeah.
Like, after having a week off, they gave him one night back, and I think and Dave was talking about this, about how he needed to get his head right. Mookie, I'm talking about now, is clearly in a headspace that is not good.
Okay,
that they had to sit him down means that he is doing something, whether it's the swing, whether it's the talk. Yeah. He's in a bad place.
So I got a friend that I talk to, and he is a swing coach.
Okay.
So he will give me information, kind of like when you talk about golf, and I just check the heck out. Like, dude, stop. But he talks to me more about Mookie, and he shows me. Mookie, when you said his head, where his head's at, that's what he showed me. Like, Mookie changes his head position like 2 or 3 times in at bat. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, stuff that he tries to talk out of kids.
Yeah.
This is what you don't do. It's like, this is what Mookie's doing. And from his perspective, it seems like when you see a pro doing that, he is searching for answers. He has zero confidence at the plate right now.
Exactly right.
Right. So if he can see that, I'm sure they can see that. So maybe a day off to get your head right. Look, bro, whatever you're trying to do, whatever you're dragon you're chasing if you're Mookie Betts, trying to overcome the shadow of Ohtani. That's just me making that up. Or whatever it is. Or it could be the illness. Look, just get back to basics. Do you. The hell with the results. Go out there and swing the bat like you know how, and let's see what happens. But it seems like he's searching for a positive result every single time, which is making more negative results. If that makes any sense.
It does. Yeah. And this is, I think, one of the best examples we've seen in a long time of how unbelievably difficult baseball can be. There's nobody over the last decade who's been more consistent, more awesome than Mookie Betts. He's just a terrific player, and he is entirely, completely, and utterly lost at the moment.
I think that's why it's so obvious, because he's not usually like this.
No.
And you can tell, and it's verifiable.
Yeah, he said, I can't remember being this bad for this long. In the month of July, he has as many hits as he does strikeouts. In the month of July, he's batting 189. Mookie Betts. Okay, this is one of the best players in the league.
Right.
And he's lost. And you kind of listed a bunch of I think it's all of it. I think it's shortstop. I think it's a little smattering of age. I think it's whatever that illness he caught at the beginning of the season. He's maybe never been able to get fully out from underneath that.
Yeah.
I think that it's the struggle of, hey, I'm off to a bad start, pushing too hard, and all of these things are kind of making it to where they had to put him in the leadoff spot, which we'll get to in a second. But the good news, I guess, is he's such a talented guy. He's so remarkably skilled at what he does that if he went out there tonight and had a couple of hits, I think he's back. I think when he gets back, he'll be back. I think it's going to happen like that.
You think so?
I do.
Okay.
We saw in the playoffs last year, the postseason, he was on a skid, and then he hit that home run in, I believe it was the DS, and then was lights out.
Remember, they robbed him, right? So they robbed him. You're like, you got to be kidding me. Like, even when I do hit the ball, I get robbed, and then he hit one the next night, and that kind of unlocked him. With guys like
I would
Freeman,
I
guys
think
like
could
Betts,
last for a while.
When they get unlocked, they get unlocked.
Okay, so I've seen it before, just different positions, different sports. But when a guy changes his body too much because he's going all in, he's either getting too skinny because they're going to put him on the edge, or he's getting too big because they want to slide him inside.
Okay.
And it affects your game some, to the point where you don't know who you are. You're adjusting to your new life, your new body, and you can never figure it out while you're trying to play at the same time. So I don't know. I mean, just the way it was explained to me and what he can see, it seems like he's searching for anything right now, which means he may not straighten out this year.
I think he will. I
hope so.
I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. If this were, let's use him as the example. If this were a player of Michael Conforto's caliber, and I'm not throwing shade, I'm really not, but I'm talking about Michael Conforto is a 10-year major leaguer. He's a 10-year pro. That's an exceptional accomplishment. But he's a one-time All-Star. He's kind of a guy that's, he's a platoon guy. He's a good player, but he's not special. If Michael Conforto had gone through this for a long time, like he is, I am not optimistic that there are brighter days ahead.
Well, yeah.
With Mookie Betts, I'm still optimistic that there are brighter days ahead. That
I hope
he will come out of
But
this.
if he continues, and you can call this falling off a cliff, the next time somebody wants to try this, hell no. Hell no.
Yeah,
no.
it was a mistake.
Yes.
I agree with what Greg said a minute ago. I do think it's affecting him, and I don't think that they're going to go back. Unless something really weird presents itself where they get shorthanded, like crazy shorthanded in the outfield, and they have an abundance of guys that can play the infield, then maybe you kind of go back. But they've cast their lot with Mookie at shortstop. They're not going back.
We're saying it's killing you. It hasn't killed you yet. So
you have to play out the season in July.
Yeah,
that might not be dead, but that's life support.
right.
That's hey, do we have a DNR on this patient? Like what are we going to do here? Because he's not getting any hits. This